There is something I wanted to share with you guys, and that is this picture right here. Anybody remembers, of course, Gundam Evolution, the game that everybody was enjoying for maybe not close to a year until Bandai pulled the plug. I never got the Heavyarms, but I've always loved this picture. This was one of my favorite pictures of the Heavyarms, how it looked. I even have the Master Grade gun tank somewhere around there. One day I may have to paint that guy. But I loved how well it is, because it's not as shiny, it's dull. It has a dull look to it. Maybe a little worn out here and there, but it looked really nice. It caught my attention. And I said to myself, if I'm ever going to build and make this kit, I want to make it look like that. Granted, this one looks nice. We all like that color. I mean, that look to it. But I just want to make it a little bit more duller and a little bit more weathered. Something that I hope you guys will learn to appreciate once I make it. So, what do I have? Well, let's begin from the lightest to the darkest, the whites. So, body white is 95% white, 5% gray. Obviously, we don't do that. So, I'm going to pull out deactivated white. This is a bit of an off-white color tone. And if you want to see a comparison, like here's the white color of, well, this is not white, this is foundation gray. But look how you could see the different tone. That will be for the entire area that's white. This body baby light blue color tone, so far it's the only place I notice is this little chest part here. And I have this right here. This one's the light blue 117 RML 76. German aircraft World War I? Does it say World War I? Can barely even read that. But here you go. So that's good for that. The body light green part, which is basically the detail parts there. I don't think I have light green. The closest thing I have is this one right here. This is Air Superiority Blue, which is equal to that. So we can use that. Now, the yellow is like a yellow-orange. And I have a couple of choices here. I could use duck egg green. That could be good for that as an alternative. Remember, I wanted weathered and a bit dull. However, I forgot that I picked this up at Gundam Planet. Middle Stone. This is more of a sandy tone, and I like this. Basically, the only thing that's going to need it is going to be the V-fin and the connectors here to the side. So that's good for that. The next one is the body, which is these blue parts here. Now, there are two tones of blue. We have the body. Actually, we have the dark blue, so there's two different dark blue points here. And then we have the double Gatling guns. Now, I'm thinking that for the body, we can use Titan's Blue 2, which is right here in this bottle. We could use that. This darker blue tone, that's going to be a question. And I have an idea, but I have to test the idea. I can prime the body light gray, while the darker tones, I prime it black and paint the same color. that would give me the two tones right there for that. But then you have this other part, which is dark blue, and I don't even know where the heck that is. I think that's probably the crotch area, maybe the side skirts. Don't know about the weaponry, or maybe the backpack. Of course, I can then change it up and do, let me see here. I can do, Amos Gray would probably be a good idea for that. But that's metallic. And that is for inner frame, which I am not going to do. But I'll hold this down, hold it to the side in reserve for whatever. Which now brings us to the double Gatling guns. And okay, so we have the part that the plating opens up to expose the Gatling guns, expose the missiles, and all that stuff. So there's two tones right there's like about three tones there. You have two tones there. You have the framing of the inside of the missile pods, and then the missiles themselves. And I want the missiles to show up a little better than, you know, than what it is. So I could use this for the missiles and the built-in Gatling gun, while the gray part here, or the internal, is this one right here, gray-violet. I'm going to be using the middle black for the inner frame. And thrusters can be maybe metallic. I could use maybe, well, I'm thinking of the barrels, the long barrels. I want to change the color now. Whether I'm thinking of using ice silver, but that looks a little too shiny. That looks a little too shiny for my taste. It looks nice though. I've used this before and it's a nice color tone, but I don't want the whole thing to be that. And maybe I can just utilize this one right here, 306 gray FS 36270. I think that would be great for the barrels. Yeah, not that much of metallic, you could say, just a, but still, I wanted that dull look to it. We'll definitely highlight it a bit more in certain areas, like the missile pod system, the underskirt armor, the parts of the inside when it flips open to see the exposed parts. I think that's pretty much it. We're talking about a lot of colors here, which I've pulled out for you guys to see, because I want to make this nice and cool. There is like parts where like the the missile pods has details there, which I should have shown. So like, come here. I know there's like a V thing there for the missile pods, which can be painted a different color tone. There is a detail here on the Gatling guns. This part here can be painted differently. Just all I have to do is mask it and paint it. Like I mentioned before, it's the same thing with this one right here, where you're painting two different color tones right there. The barrels is the tips of the barrels is the one thing that may be a little tough to do, because you want to paint the barrels in a different color tone. And I was thinking of maybe painting it this ice blue, because giving it that metallic feel to it, as it's, whether it's not metallic blue, this is more like ice silver. I wish I had like a metallic bluish tone, but a more striking one for it to look like that. I don't know what else I could probably do. Yeah, like the guns here, that's metallic. That could be metallic right there. And going back to the legs of the white. Well, now I'm thinking about it, that whether I should do if I do weathering, maybe that's too much, because for me to weather the entire legs and then me figuring out how to weather the entire body of blue, that's a tough one right there. I mean, I'm good. I'm not that good. Sorry about that. And then I guess the final thing is there's red parts, which is basically meant for the... Where's that face mask? I don't even see it here. Yeah, there's like a red there, but I'm not painting that face mask in all due fairness. There's the sensor part, which is the metallic green, and the metallic orange, which is right there at the top. I think I have something like that, but I gotta look for it. Okay. What do you guys think? You think I can pull this off? I'll keep these paints here nearby for, references. I'm going to adjust my table. It's a bit of a mess after I came back from a long break. But I'm going to be utilizing these paints and see how far we go with this. All right. Let me stop talking and let's begin building Master Grade Heavyarms Custom Endless Waltz. Alright, so standard operating procedure. I'm going to be removing all these parts from their packaging. Throw away the packaging, of course. We don't need them. And I will color separate them based on color. Some of them are obvious. Others are going to take me some time to visually see them and make sure I'm selecting the correct one. And I forgot to mention that this kit came out 2016. I feel like it's far older, but it's a 9-year-old kit. It's actually utilizing the parts from the Heavyarms Custom. I put this here, right there. Come on, get in there. There you go. But with the added parts to make it to the Endless Waltz version. And I guess a lot of people are going to be excited now that we're going to be getting an updated Endless Waltz kits in high grade format. We've all remembered the original 144 scale version. Hell, I remember building the 144 scale version a long time ago. That was fun. Unfortunately, I don't have that kit anymore. It got lost, got damaged. I missed that kit. But we were all so accustomed to those classic high grade kits that now they don't make them anymore. They're kind of a rarity. I don't think I've even seen it in Gundam Planet. It may be there and I don't see it, but never bothered to take a look at it. But that will all change now that we're going to be getting the high grade Sandrock, and maybe in a few months probably Heavyarms or Altron or Desaitel. Which one are you guys excited for in high grade format? Alright, so this one I'm going to put here. This one has this unusual turquoise color. I know it's there, but I'm going to start with the whites. And I have the manual here hanging on the top. Let me open up and make sure that I only remove what is necessary. And yeah, that one. Look, the only one that I don't need is that one, but I'm going to put it there anyway, because I'm not going to paint it. I don't know why. Nobody wants Troa and his unique haircut. We'll put it to the side. Oh, that's right. We don't need the beam saber effect, and there's no beam saber effects inside the kit, so well, I'll take that out and put it to the side. There we go. All right, so now I'm going to put this all, the white parts there, whatever white parts I used to have over there, and there's going to be a lot of cleaning. So, as a famous YouTuber used to say, let's get these all onto a tray. Nice. All right, here are all the parts now in their trays. We have the whites here, the gray, the bluish gray, the turquoise blue, the blue, and then the dark blue. I've also separated these parts from the plating. I'm going to keep them there because no reason for me to put them in another tray. But I will remove them and put them on galligator clips as well as the yellow. And here's the clear part for the head. Majority, of course, is the charcoal parts, which I'm going to clean up and assemble the inner frame. Very few white, of course. It's a mixer of everything here and there. I was also impressed with the fact that there's actually holes in the gun barrel, which threw me off guard there. This is pretty neat. You have the gun barrel there, you have this part here, and then the polycaps. Now I did mention that I said I'm hoping that nothing was broken in the packaging. Well, turns out that this part was broken. Here's the other piece. When I was looking at the when I saw it, I said, wait, what the hell happened here? And it was this part right there. So I guess when the impact of it falling or whatever happened, it snapped this part off, which I'm going to have to carefully look at and see if I can super glue it. Then maybe put some putty on it to sand it down. But getting it in the right position is another thing, because I don't know if I'm going to get it right. There could have been a bit of a warpage or bendage, and, well, I don't know. And we'll have to look at the manual again, see where it goes. Maybe try to form fit it and glue it, and then take it out while it's glued, and then that way I can sand it down and clean it up. That seems like a better idea to do that. Everything else is good. Everything is here, fine. There's going to be a lot of sanding. A few parts were undergated. I didn't realize that after reviewing it, but there are parts that definitely need some work, especially the gun barrel on the gats. All right, let me clean up the grays, of course, because I'm going to be assembling the inner frame. See how far we can go with that.